Hi everybody, welcome to Attack with LarryC. I'm your host Larry Christiansen, and we're going to move on from the topic of knight takes g5 stock sacrifices and explore that whole subject in the past few episodes of Attack with LarryC. And now we're going to move on to another important topic, and that's the rook takes g7 sacrifice. And a lot of people are aware of the rook takes h7 check type sack. Those are really stock, very basic normally. But rook takes g7 is a bit more complex as a rule. Now we're going to start off with a few simple examples and discuss some of the preconditions for a successful rook takes g7 check sacrifice. Well, we'll start real simple. Let's pick up this position from a U.S. Chess League battle from a few years back between Dmitri Schneider Black and some old idiot as White. And luckily the old idiot here had somehow gained control of the e-file and played rook e7. Black now driving the queen from its spot. And as I mentioned many times, it's very important to always look at violent forcing moves, and this is a classic example. If you miss rook takes g7 here, well, back to the drawing board with you. So this is an automatic. You always look at this type of move. And this works because why? Because White's pieces are extremely well placed. Beautiful bishops, beautiful rook, and a king that is insufficiently protected. And all White had to do really was to calculate as far ahead as bishop f7 check, putting the king into the line of fire. And now queen takes pawn check, and we have a horrific windmill, at least from Black's perspective, after bishop h5 check. And here Mr. Schneider was not interested in continuing with king g8, rook g7 check, king h8, further, and then maybe rook d7 check, king g8, and then take on d8, bishop takes, and White is 3 pawns up, more to go. Actually, White could have wiped out the a-pawn as well. Okay, that's a relatively basic example of the rook takes g7 check sack. Here's a somewhat more complex example. And this is based on the following. It's a nice tactic. And this is, well, let's pick it up. After Black's 40th move, right after time control. So here in this position, it's even material. White's got a beautiful queen on d4, just like our last example. So good nice, powerful, centralized queens are often a good, gazing at g7, supporting a sack is often a good clue that it'll be successful. Now here Mosezian utilizes the overloading theme to play rook f2. And the reason this works is now after queen takes f2, White has rook takes g7 check. If Black plays king h8, rook takes f7, discovered check. White is then 2 pawns up, and with a very active, powerful rook. And Black has 3 weaknesses, really no practical chance to survive. Let's say Black had tried to move the queen to e6. Well, then in that case, White plays rook takes f7, queen takes f7. Do you see it? Utilizing the pin theme, queen takes e4. So that's why queen takes f2 is absolutely forced. Overloading the rook, and now White has a queen and bishop against a suddenly exposed Black king. Black has 3 weaknesses. White has